Today marks the 75th anniversary of VE Day. The occasion commemorates the end of World War II in Europe, and as we remember the sacrifices made by so many, one decorated U.S. veteran is sharing his story in a new book. It's called Whatever It Took, an American paratrooper's extraordinary memoir of escape, survival, and heroism in the last days of World War II.
Joining us now is Lieutenant Colonel Hal Kempfer, a retired Marine Corps intelligence officer. We appreciate you coming on the program and thank you for your service. Lieutenant, how are you celebrating today, the 75th anniversary of VE Day? What are you doing to mark the occasion?
Well, pretty much I'm just looking back at the tremendous sacrifice, the courage that it took. And when I look at things like the 82nd Airborne, I'm a paratrooper myself, and some of the amazing jumps, but also some of the fierce fighting they did across Northern Europe. It's just a day for remembrance and a day to honor those who really gave it their all.
All right, I want to bring in somebody very special right now. We have the author of the book that we showed you earlier, and right now we have Henry Langer. He's joining us live here. He is a World War II veteran. Thank you for coming on, sir. What does this day mean to you?
Well, it's a day that we remembered throughout history for what it was. The end of a war that lasted from 1939 all the way through 1945. So a long, long war.
Yeah, and it's one that should not be forgotten. And of course, all of our military members who served fighting for our country during that time as well should be recognized for their just heroic movements there and their decision to fight for our country. Of course, we as a country now are dealing with the crisis, the coronavirus right now. The president referring to Americans as warriors during this time even. Henry, do you think that that's the right way to describe Americans during this time? Of course, we're facing a much different enemy right now. Yes,
I think so. You know, we are fighting a battle. We're fighting an invisible enemy, but, their whole country's behind them, and that's a wonderful thing. That's what happened during World War II.
Henry, let me ask you this, and I hope you're okay with me asking you, but how old are you? And if you could share your most fondest memory that you have from your time.
I am 95 years old, and the fondest memories I have is when I came home from the service and met my darling wife.
Oh, what is her name? And tell me about that. Were you married to your wife when you served in the military?
No, I was not. She was my girlfriend, but we were engaged at that time. And she waited all that time, not knowing whether I was coming home or not. Very, very, very wonderful wife. I just can't say too much about her. She's a major part of my life.
Yeah. So sweet. That's great to hear. Lieutenant, we'll bring you into the conversation. Is there something that you'd like to ask Henry here now that he's on the program about his time and his service as well?
Absolutely. Henry, sir, I salute you. That is just amazing what you went through with 82nd Airborne, jumping into Normandy at night, of course, Market Garden and the Battle of the Bulge, some amazing events that took place in World War II. But I just wanted your opinion. I'm sure you made a lot of night parachute jumps. Had you ever prepared for jumping through the glass ceiling of a hothouse in France? What were your thoughts when you crashed through that ceiling?
Well, as you know, jumping at night, you can't see anything until you're right on top of it. So by the time I saw that, I had already known my leg pack had dropped through the roof of the greenhouse. And, hey, I was a little bit I didn't know where I was at. I was supposed to land in the pasture.
Yeah, it's an interesting jump. When you were standing, I don't know how much time you had in the door, but when you left the aircraft, there was a lot of cloud cover. Did you have any idea where you were? Could you see the drop zone at all, or guess where the drop zone would have been?
No, I could not have. But just as we jumped out of the door in St. Mary Cleese, there was a fire going on. You could see down in the churchyard, and that was pretty impressive to see what was going on there.
That's impressive. We're out of time really quick. I got to jump in here. But I tell you what, this just means the world to have you on, Henry, to share your story. I know you have your book as well that we showed earlier. So if anyone is interested in seeing those memories there, it is on your screen. This guy is 95 years old, a warrior, and just downright fun to talk to. Yeah. Cool memories.
Love to hear those stories. Henry Langrier, World War II veteran, and Lieutenant Colonel Hal Kempfer, retired Marine Corps intelligence officer. Thank you both so much. We really appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Talk to them all day. All right.